Spiders, narrow spaces, high altitudes, fear of failure, panic attacks, stress disorders, and the number of people suffering from them are increasing. Finding a solution is becoming increasingly urgent. Michael Barten-Renon has studied and treated people with such problems for more than 15 years.
If 100 people walked past me here, and I talked to everyone for 15 minutes, I'd find at least one or two things that would permanently burden someone, or that he's been trying to destroy for a lifetime. Everyone has some problem. Sometimes they dissolve, but if they don't, serious diseases can occur.
All of this is related to processes in our brain. Nerve cells, the so-called neurons, are already formed in the uterus.
Our brain has about 850 million nerve cells, and each one of these neurons can dock 10,000 more. These docking points are called synapses.
Our brain is initially like an unrecorded data storage that will be filled with experiences from day one. As a child, we learn from experiences. For example, language or movement processes.
When the child learns a ball game, such a structure grows. With each exercise and with each training and success, it grows more and the child gets better and better.
The new experiences are stored in the cerebral cortex. The emotional impulses, on the other hand, are transmitted via the limbic system, via neurotransmitters and hormones to the form networks. The older we get, the more experience and information we collect. These structures are created or used. Successes, feelings of happiness, but also defeats and anger. These networks grow through emotions and memories.
But when a person develops an anxiety disorder, a panic attack, then a fear structure grows, and with every situation, and with every new fear, this grows too.
The limbic system responds to any new situation, experience, or event by distributing messenger materials that compress and expand the structures.
The classic treatment methods of these anxiety disorders and compulsory disorders, as well as acute stress disorders, have so far been the classic and well-known psychotherapy procedures. They all have the basic idea that they either try to write a negative, emotionally occupied experience positively, or try to change the patient's thinking to think differently about these experiences than at the beginning. The assumption is that in classical psychotherapy, one assumes that one cannot separate or treat emotions, but one can only perceive them differently.
EioS is working right there. The basic idea is that a structure can only be dismantled from the brain if it no longer receives new impulses, so it is no longer supplied.
The EioS method has found a way to actually separate emotions from memories and experiences. You have to imagine it as a spoken scalpel. Afterwards, the patient is able to experience the same experience without any value, and then hopefully in a positive environment. The method is absolutely safe. It doesn't change the brain either. It only changes the interconnection of neural structures. Structures dissolve and new connections are formed. And that's something that happens every day, when we're out in traffic or reading, so when we're getting new experiences. Also here, neural structures are changed. And that's what EioS does in a therapeutic way.
EioS creates what is possible in other forms of therapy, if only after years. Neurology was skeptical at first.
I was a mainstream doctor with all my heart, and the method that Dr. Barten-Renon introduced me that sounded too simple, too profane to really achieve this effect. I was extremely skeptical at first, for it sounded like a miracle that in a very short time, a great evil of mankind had become treatable, and that with a low effort and a high efficiency.
Dr. Karl-Heinz Luxna launches a valid observation study with 200 patients.
These patients were treated according to classical medical points of view, and these patients have benefited significantly from the EIOS method by a very high percentage. This has been more than surprising with the new method, and I can think of no other word than revolutionary.
After the old structure has been dissolved by cutting the connection, the neurons are almost freely available again. The process begins from the beginning, however without the emotional past, but with new positive experiences.
Today, no one has to walk around with fear or compulsion. Today, it's really easy to treat stress and other mental illnesses. And this is my task for the future, to train more and more people to use the EioS in clinics and medical practices.